Imagine two people. Both work hard. Both are intelligent. Both are ambitious. One spends years increasing effort, working longer hours, taking on more responsibility, pushing harder. The other spends years building systems, creating processes, designing assets, constructing infrastructure. Years later, their lives look completely different. Not because one worked harder, but because one discovered leverage. And throughout history, that difference has quietly separated builders from workers, architects from operators, and in many cases, the wealthy from everyone else. For most of human history, survival depended on labor. More effort often produced more output. More hours often produced more income. The relationship felt logical. Work, then earn. Work more, then earn more. The worker eventually encounters the same ceiling because labor scales slowly, and eventually, the economics begin to change. The question becomes, what happens when effort is no longer enough? Something changed over the past century, then accelerated over the past 2 decades, and is accelerating again today. The world's most valuable assets increasingly require less direct labor. Software, platforms, algorithms, networks, intellectual property, automation. The pattern appears repeatedly. The wealth is no longer concentrated around effort. It is concentrated around leverage. And leverage always begins with systems. A system performs work repeatedly, without requiring repeated effort. That distinction changes everything. A worker completes a task. A system completes a process. A worker produces an outcome. A system produces outcomes continuously. This is why businesses seek automation, why investors seek assets, why entrepreneurs seek scalability, because systems create multiplication, not repetition. The goal is not to work once. The goal is to build something that continues working after the effort ends. That is the economic advantage hidden beneath every scalable enterprise. Not all leverage is equal. At the first level, people leverage their own labor. This is where most careers begin. At the second level, capital begins doing some of the work. Investments, assets, ownership. At the third level, software enters the equation. One product can serve thousands. One platform can reach millions. And now, a fourth level is emerging. Autonomous systems, artificial intelligence, digital infrastructure, systems capable of executing tasks once reserved for humans. The higher the leverage, the less growth depends on direct effort, and the more growth depends on architecture. This creates a new divide, not between rich and poor, not between educated and uneducated, but between operators and architects. Operators focus on execution. Architects focus on systems. Operators solve today's problems. Architects build structures that solve tomorrow's problems automatically. The difference seems small until years begin to pass. Then the gap becomes enormous because systems compound, and compounding rewards architecture. Most people believe wealth is primarily an income problem. Earn more, save more, work more. But many of the world's most successful builders approached the problem differently. They treated wealth as a systems problem. How can value be delivered repeatedly? How can outcomes be produced consistently? How can effort be decoupled from growth? These questions lead toward leverage, and leverage leads toward systems. The visible result is wealth. The invisible cause is architecture. The future may belong to those who understand a simple principle. Effort creates momentum. Systems create scale. Hard work remains valuable, but hard work alone rarely compounds. Systems do. Assets do. Infrastructure does. The goal is not to avoid effort. The goal is to direct effort towards building something that continues generating value long after the initial work is complete. That is how leverage transforms effort into architecture. Many modern systems are not built entirely from scratch. They are assembled from frameworks, infrastructure, templates, automation layers, and proven digital components. For viewers exploring ways to accelerate system building, additional resources can be found in the description below. If you want to explore more about AI, automation, digital infrastructure, and scalable business systems, subscribe to ASUTSEN and comment below. What system are you building today that could still create value tomorrow? The wealthiest systems in history share a common characteristic. They continue operating long after they are created, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Most people spend their lives improving effort. A smaller group spends their lives improving leverage, and that distinction changes everything. Because the future may not belong to those who work the hardest. It may belong to those who build the best systems. This is ASUTSEN, architecting wealth, automating future.